Welcome. We're going to look at the way God speaks to us. How does He talk with us? Which external means does He use to speak to us? And we realize that there are two external tools that He uses primarily. The first is general revelation. That is a theological term for nature and the processes of nature. In other words, for instance, the animals or the trees, and then also the processes like birth. Then the Lord also speaks to us through specific revelation, and that refers to the scriptures or the Bible. And both of them carry tremendous authority and weight. When we read Romans 1 verse 20 concerning general revelation or nature, for ever since the world was created, people have seen the earth and sky. Through everything God made, they can clearly see His invisible qualities, His eternal power and divine nature. So they have no excuse for not knowing God. When we then look at specific revelation, which refers to the scriptures, we read in 2 Timothy 3 verse 16, all scripture is inspired by God and is useful for teaching the truth, rebuking error, correcting faults, and giving instruction for right living. Both therefore demand our attention. The bar is very high. No one is without excuse using either one of these two. The problem for us is that a lot of people want to keep them mutually exclusive or separate, but that cannot be so because God's communication is constant. It therefore implies the need for us to marry the two and to understand the synthesis between the two tools that God uses, the harmony they bring to each other as God's language and speaking to us constantly. We read about Jesus that He was teaching them many things through parables, and with many parables He spoke the word to them. Jesus often used nature as a literary device, figurative speech, to demonstrate truths. He spoke about the birds and how they're being fed, about the lilies and how beautiful the lilies are, and that God cares more for us than for the lilies. And He spoke of Herod being a fox. It is interesting that in some languages, figurative speech is denoted as image speak. We must meditate on Romans 1 verse 20 because that is the neglected area. We have relied too much on deductive logic, in other words, on the face value in Scripture without looking at the deeper meaning of each Scripture. Paul clearly states that nature declares God's eternal power and His nature and character, and we must take note of that. So God created the universe and our world for us to know Him better. Then He uses typology, symbols, and figurative speech to make us understand the things of the Spirit that we can't see with our eyes. The spirit world. So I hope from now on you will take a different look at how nature complements the Scripture. Work out for yourself, for instance, why the lion is about royal authority, ox about divine acts of service, the serpent being wisdom, the fox craftiness, the elephant the prophetic, the giraffe the intercessory, the eagles the divine, and the dog all about loyalty like Caleb. Bearing in mind, when you meditate on these things, ask yourself whether the animal is heavenly like birds or earthbound like the ox. Is it clean, predatory? What does it feed on? How does it manifest in its fallen state and in its redeemed state? And with that, blessings.